So we are continuing our live cold reaction series to Andor. Didn't have too many stray thoughts on episode 2. I do think I expressed my reservations about it pretty well. The one thing I did want to mention was since we got Yavin 4 at the end, I did talk about the concept of habitable exomoons and in my Star Wars video and in my Return of the Jedi video. The gist of which is habitable exomoons like Yavin 4 are entirely possible. That doesn't necessarily mean they exist, but what we know about astrophysics, what we know about exoplanets and exomoons means that they absolutely could exist. Many planets have gas giants pretty close inside the habitable zone, and if they had moons that were Earth size or even moon size, those would potentially be habitable. They would have liquid water. We know the moons of Jupiter have frozen water, and some of them have liquid water underneath a very thick layer of ice. And so you have water, you have minerals, you have energy, you could potentially have life. They would potentially be kept active by the gravitational kneading of the gas giants, just the way Io and Europa are kept active by Jupiter's gravity. So yeah, that's entirely possible. We don't know if we will ever be able to detect those. We're still working on detecting exomoons in general, but it's entirely possible you could have a Yavin 4-like planet out there. So yeah, that's the only science point I thought I could make on that. So we've watched the first 2 episodes. We're finishing the arc tonight. Episode 3, Andor. Ooh, space stuff. All right, so put on my scientist hat. What's that behind Andor? It kind of looks like an irregular galaxy, like the Magellanic Clouds or something like that. But we know that Star Wars takes place entirely within one galaxy. So I'm going to go with maybe a star-forming region, a nebula, something like that, something like the Pillars of Creation that we've seen in our own galaxy. Whatever it is, they've rendered it quite beautifully. I love these analog comms that they are working on, him and Clea. I guess maybe this Empire can snoop on digital.
Someone needs to tell him what's going on here.
It's going on everywhere.
Why can't they just leave us in peace?
Keep your head down.
It's not how the Empire works. They don't leave people in peace. Okay, that is a really stunning dress. The costumes in this series are just so on point.
We can walk out there right now. Tell them all to have a lovely afternoon. But that it's not yet time for a marriage.
It's a lovely little scene with weddings, and especially one that is as grandiose as this. A pressure does build on someone that they can't call it off. And you always need to give them that option, say, look, this is your life. If you have decided that this isn't for you, maybe don't go through with it. I do know at least a couple people who've told me that they literally, when they were walking down the aisle, were thinking, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I think it's a great testament to Mom that she gives her daughter that option. And I think it's a giving you a lot of character info on her daughter, that she says, oh, I wish you were drunk. This is what I want. That she's younger, but she wants the more traditional role and traditions and ceremonies and all that. So really a great scene here. One we don't often see in Star Wars. And you can tell Mon Mothma thinks it's a mistake. I mean, her daughter's 15. What does she know?
Wait.
Stepping over the antlers. That could end badly with a long flowing gown like that. It's clear they're pulling from a bunch of different traditions here. One that is familiar to me is this circling around each other. This is something that sometimes shows up in Jewish weddings. My wife and I did this when we got married. That I think I'm trying to remember. She like circled around me 7 times, and we circled around each other, and so forth. So there's a clearly being pulled from a lot of traditions here. Very in keeping with Star Wars, how it builds culture.
Name and K from.
Tabayama K Dronodama.
Oh God, this is the most sterile apartment I've ever seen. Hang up a painting or something. All right, now that smile is downright disturbing. I would seriously watch a comedy show that was just centered on these people's relationship, because they're so odd and so hyper controlled and so hyper controlling. It would be an incredible dark comedy.
Mother.
Hello.
Even in the Star Wars universe, the greatest danger is meeting your in-laws.
Mother.
It's such a wonderfully grating performance by that actress.
My parents were criminals. They were arrested when I was 3. I was raised in an imperial kinderblock.
That explains a lot.
We had everything we needed.
Except a mother's love.
We didn't know what we were missing.
Seeing these 2 characters bounce off of each other is quite the show.
I will guarantee a level of engagement, but it will be inversely proportional to the volume of anxiety you generate in our lives.
Damn, Kendra.
I'm not done.
Oh, I've had days like that.
He's been promoted twice. Look out.
You're achieving the impossible. You're making me feel sad for Cyril.
We'll have so much fun, we'll forget all about them.
Hear the Empire, see the Empire.
Is that a blaster?
Hear the Empire, see the Empire. You're gonna get sick of me saying this, if you're not already.
Speed.
Get inside.
Yep, she senses the creep vibe off that guy too.
You know the number. We'd be vulnerable forever. You need to be protected.
I mean, Luthen's right. Once you start
What you're saying.
paying hush money to Tay, gotta keep paying him.
Nice for you.
I mean, nothing's happened yet, and I'm like on the edge of my seat.
Stop right there.
Hear the Empire, see the Empire.
I got one.
She knows it's killing her.
We like it.
This guy's.
I think
The character's a creep, but the actor's doing a great job of making him creepy without doing anything overt. You get just a vibe off him. It's amazing acting.
I'm always looking for ways to relax. My shoulders get sore.
You'll pay for this.
You're lucky we were here.
Brasso's a real one. He's giving him cover so he doesn't get busted. Oh. Finish him, girl. Oh, now you're paying attention. An accomplice.
Where's he gone? It sounded like they were under attack.
Good riddance. Oh, good on you, Wilmon. Oh, good job, Bix.
Where's Otto?
I don't know. I was just called to fill in.
Oh, is that
Afraid
Cinta?
I wouldn't find you.
And here I am.
Oh, well, there's a death sentence. We know what Cinta's going to do. Oh, Val. I'm sorry, Val. Kick their asses, Cassian. From the trailer. Didn't think it would be that satisfying, but... Well, they got the speeder. I thought with the way they zoomed in on that one trooper taking his time to aim and fire.
Russell! Hey, Russell!
He's one of my favorite characters, too. Just look at her face. This series does so much with just facial expressions and camera angles. It's telling you everything right now without words. Well, that was intense and bleak. And we basically misery visited upon everyone. I mean, at her daughter's wedding, Mon has to basically sign off on her best friend being murdered. And Vel sees that Cinta is alive and not talking to her. And, Brasso is killed and they have to flee this planet where they'd found a safe harbor. It just emphasizes the way the Empire is just crushing everything and everyone in its path, that there is no happy ending. There is no, not until you resist. There's no way this force of evil is going to relent or anything like that. Because all this was about people essentially trying to live their lives, and the way the Empire, it's doing an audit, it's cracking down on people, it's attacking people. With Mon, I'm sure she'd like to just be a senator and live her life, but this is encroaching on her, and now she had to protect her identity, has to let Luthen do what Luthen's going to do. So it's a very bleak ending. Overall, I mean, this first arc wasn't amazing, but it was really good. I still thought episode 2 was a bit weak with the Beavis and Butthead rebels, but overall everything built up to this, and we still have a few loose threads dangling. We haven't heard what's going to go on with Gorman. Whatever Didra and Cyril are going to do, we don't know where that thread is going, but things came together really nicely here. In terms of science, in the Foundation series, they have a planet very similar to Coruscant. In fact, it's probably what Coruscant is based on, called Trantor, which is also just one big city. And it is fed by many agricultural worlds that then send their food to Trantor to support it. And in the Foundation novels, that proves to be Trantor's jugular, that when Trantor is conquered, when the Galactic Empire collapses, the vulnerability that the warlords exploit is it's dependent on those agricultural worlds. And so I was kind of reminded of shades of that with having an agricultural world, probably many agricultural worlds that are supporting Coruscant and any other planets that are overgrown cities and can't support themselves agriculturally. So be interesting to see if anything comes of that. I doubt it. I don't think they're going in that direction. And we saw it brought the Empire to its knees. But yeah, it's an interesting comparison there. If you did have, and we don't think that you can build galactic civilizations where you can go from one planet to another instantaneously, but if you could, then you would need that kind of specialization in planets. So it's more of this universe building, more of the world building that I so enjoy about Star Wars. Look, I avoided spoilers so far, but I did know there was some big controversy about Episode 3. And so I did, after pausing the video, read up on what people were saying about this, about the assault on Bix. And I can see where both sides are coming from. I can see the people who say, look, this is a space fantasy, Jedi, laser swords, that sort of thing. This is a little too real. I don't need this in my Star Wars. And I can also see people saying, look, this is a different series. This is much more realistic. It's much more down to earth. Authoritarian empires who have no respect for people, and that filters down to the troops. And you will find in the record that empires like this, during World War II, the behavior of the democracies like the UK and the US, their soldiers was not perfect, but was massively better than the behavior of soldiers from Russia or Germany or Japan. So I also see that side of it, that we're portraying something realistic. There is something about the assault on Bix that I think is different. That Star Wars has had a lot of violence. I mean, we've seen literal planets blown up. We see lots of people shot. We see, Anakin slaughtered a bunch of kids. We've seen that before. But there's something about this sort of thing that is just hits people on a personal and visceral level, and I understand that. That it's a little too real. That the violence we've seen in Star Wars before is almost like cartoonish violence, or it's movie violence where people get shot and they fall over. Whereas in a real war, it's much more like Saving Private Ryan, where you have people screaming in pain and calling out for their moms, and suffering and bloodshed, and more people wounded than killed, and people running away because they're terrified. Whereas it goes a bit differently in movies. So I can see where people think this is discordant with that. My opinion is I didn't feel it was exploitative. I didn't feel it was doing this for a sick thrill or something like that. I didn't feel like it was trying to have something disturbing just to have something disturbing. It felt like it was part of why the Empire is so evil, and felt like it was shocking, but not exploitative. Hopefully we won't see much more of that, and hopefully we'll see Bix get a chance to heal, because this is 2 really bad traumas she's been through in just a few episodes. So, but overall, look, the episode came together well, and it tells you when you have a good series that I was before the action even started, when it was just building towards that, I was on the edge of my seat. Cassian's coming, Tay is making his presence known and the threat he poses known. The Empire is closing in on them. It's that sense of overwhelming dread that the series does so well, that the Empire cannot be escaped, that the only way out is to fight it. And so I'm very looking forward to what the next 3 arcs do. And from those who've seen the entire series, who posted reviews when it started, they said this is probably the weakest arc. And if this is the weakest arc, then we're really in for a treat for the next 9 episodes. So anyway, I'd probably give that one an 8 or a 9. It was really well done. It just brought all those threads together really well. Outstanding acting, just all around. And Genevieve O'Reilly gave you so much with just facial expressions and a few words. Cassian, of course, is famously laconic, and you have to read what he's thinking. As I said first, I don't know his name, the actor who played the creepy Imperial, he just did so much with so little dialogue to put you on edge and make you go, oh God, what's going to happen now? And just all around, the acting has been great. And so this is a special series, and I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea. That's fine. Not everything is my cup of tea. We can agree to disagree, but I think this is something extraordinary, and I'm looking forward to more. And if it keeps at this level, I really think this is something that it will be one of the best series of the year, full stop, not just science fiction, not just Star Wars. So looking forward to more. Assuming my shoulder holds up, not going to watch more tonight because it's getting kind of late. And sitting in this chair does a number on my shoulder, so it's hard to sit here for very long. But we'll be back with episode 4 soon. In the meantime, I'm Mike Siegel. I write for Ordinary Times. Be sure to like, subscribe, buy my book, do all that jazz. And thank you for watching.